Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Yanto is on the way. A little bit about Ben. Ben Yanto is a photographer and animal lover who has made San Antonio his home for the last 16 years. In what started as a social media plea to help rescue a dog from a local shelter in 2014, he discovered that through his photography, he could help connect potential adopters with needy pups. To date, he has welcomed more than 185 foster dogs into his home, in addition to the 4 dogs that permanently reside with him. Ladies and gentlemen, Binyanto!
What's going on, Garrett?
What's happening, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm just going to talk about my rescue journey, my foster journey, really. So, yeah, I'm ready. In 2019, 3.9 million dogs entered U.S. animal shelters. Of those, more than 1.2 million were euthanized, a nice word for killed. It's a sad reality for many dogs, a lot of them healthy and adoptable, that have to be put down in order to make room for more dogs, as they are constantly coming in. How do we stop this? One way is to spay and neuter your pets. Next, keep your pet secured in your house, yard, or on a leash. Microchipping your pet is another great way to help lost pets get back home. Lastly, foster and adopt with your local animal shelter or rescue group. Have you ever been scrolling through Facebook and come across one of those posts of a dog looking for a home? It's usually a plea for someone to help get the animal out of the shelter by a certain time, or else it will be euthanized. I can't help but think of the ASPCA commercial with Sarah McLachlan. Yeah, we all get the feels from that song. And this is one of those pictures that made me want to adopt. This is my dog, Brody. He was being fostered by a really nice couple, and I credit them for opening my eyes to the shelter system. They gave me an idea what it was like to foster, though it would be a year or so before I even considered fostering a dog. This is the actual picture I saw on Facebook that tugged at my heartstrings, my angel moment. This was my very first foster, Bosley. At the time, I had no idea what I was getting into. He was a handful at first, but I was able to train him and eventually found a great home for this good boy. This is Teddy, a foster who needed help to fix a broken femur. Through social media, I was able to raise funds for the rescue to pay for his surgery. Using hashtags on Instagram, I found Leah from Atlanta, who ended up flying from Georgia to Texas just to adopt him. It was then I realized how effective social media is to reach people anywhere looking to adopt. I've been a photographer for about 17 years. I love taking photos of my foster dogs just hanging around my house, being themselves. I think it gives potential adopters a glimpse of what life could be like with their new fur baby. These photos have significantly helped in finding forever homes for them. I love volunteering my time to photograph spay and neuter outreach events such as the Big Fix hosted by SNPSA. This organization does these events 3 times a year to help families in low-income areas of San Antonio with free spay, neuter, microchipping, and vaccinations. On average, they treat over 450 animals at each event. These are my 2 previous fosters, Ro and Ohm. Although adopted at separate times, they are best friends. It's amazing to see how these 2 dogs who were unwanted early in their lives are now thriving in such a loving home. To top it off, they were included in their parents' big day last December. I never could have imagined I'd be fostering so many dogs and puppies, yet here I was in February 2017 with my 100th foster. I found it to be so rewarding to find these deserving dogs at home and to see the happiness they bring to their families. 80 plus foster dogs since that milestone, it continues to drive me to do what I do. Last summer, I was invited to be on Great Day SA. The subject, you guessed it, fostering. It was a great experience, and I really tried my best to get Jesse Borrego to adopt my foster, but it didn't quite work out. But I made a great friend in Roma who continued to support my fostering endeavors. As a foster parent, going to rescue events is an extremely helpful way to find potential adopters. These are really fun events, and sometimes they involve doing yoga with puppies. Yes, puppy yoga is as fun as it sounds, and I highly recommend it if you have the chance. These are images, not mine, of puppy mills. A puppy mill is an operation that breeds dogs not for health or vitality, but for profit. Often complaints are filed to shut down these operations. In severe cases, these dogs are confiscated and hopefully turned over to rescue groups. In some, the dogs are so ill, they must be put down. One of those cases is what brought Gigi into my life. At only 2 years old, she had spent most of her life living in a small crate in her own filth with dozens of other dogs in a tiny house. She used to breed French bulldogs, a designer breed, which were sold at designer prices until she was rescued. I'm so grateful for my 4 dogs, as I feel that they help me with every foster I've taken in. They know how to set a pack order with the fosters, and incredibly, the fosters pick it up quickly. If a foster can get along with my dogs, they can usually acclimate well with other families, especially ones who already have pets. Gigi also played a big part with fostering. Being used as a breeding dog and having litters of her own, she has a strong and nurturing maternal instinct. When I foster young puppies, she often steps in as their mama, making them feel comfortable and watching over them as her own. One of the most rewarding things about fostering is meeting all sorts of people and befriending them, from meeting other fosters or volunteers to people that have adopted from me. For those that have adopted, I love getting updates on how the dogs are doing and seeing the types of adventures and mischief they're getting into. Recognize the pajamas? Yep, that's right. It's now March 2020, and the country is shutting down in response to the COVID pandemic. While we were all stressing out about what to do, dogs around the world were celebrating their new normal, having their humans home all the time. Surprisingly, COVID has positively impacted so many foster and adoption programs. As people hunker down in their homes, they realize they're able to help out animals in need. Since the pandemic hit, I've been able to find homes for these 5 dogs. It's been a blessing in such terrible times to connect these dogs with their forever families. As I look back, I now see that I've always had a deep love for animals. That love is what motivates me to give back to them and my community. I hope that sharing my story will encourage others to do the same. If you can't foster or adopt, then volunteer or donate to your local animal shelter or rescue. In the meantime, please remember, adopt, don't shop, and that fostering saves lives.
Great, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Being really good with dogs.
Yeah, I've always had the love for them. So,
thank you for sharing all of that information and being a very positive force in our community. I mean, I'm kind of flabbergasted, man.
Yeah, I mean,
how many dogs do you walk at a time?
It just depends. I mean, puppies, you know, they go pretty fast. I mean, the quickest I probably had a puppy was like a couple of hours. And, you know, the older dogs I've had, you know, the longest I've had was 6-7 months. So,
wow.
Yeah. So it just all depends.
Yeah. I mean, that is really, really incredible. Any advice for people out there that might be seeking to do something similar to what you're doing?
Really is just to have patience. Like, you know, because a lot of these dogs are going to be coming into a new environment, which is your home. And so you can't expect the dog to adjust right away. So it's going to be adjustment period for both, you know, the foster and the dog. So patience is pretty much key.
Well, that makes perfect sense. It seems like you're a very patient person.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again, Ben.